Hi, I'm Jo Clark, and thanks so much for joining me today. This is the Redefining Midlife podcast, a podcast designed for the 40-plus woman who is determined to challenge society's myths and beliefs around midlife. It's for the woman who is inspired and ready to define midlife her way. Join me each week as I chat to health and wellness experts for up-to-date information on how to live well as some special conversations with incredible everyday women redefining what midlife can look like. Here's to making our next half of life even better than the first. Thank you so much to those of you who have shared, rated, or reviewed the podcast. A shout out to Emma, who wrote a beautiful review back in March. And she writes, I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to Jo Clark's latest Redefining Midlife podcast episodes. Jo's guests are wonderful storytellers, knowledgeable, and interesting. I feel excited to be in midlife as I listen to Jo and her guests talk openly and authentically about this stage of life. It's a liberating period and a time to celebrate more freedom and truly explore one's purpose. Thanks, Jo, for shining a positive light on midlife, for the great advice and perspective shared, and for being an incredible role model. I so appreciate your review, Emma. That's wonderful. Thank you. Now, if this is something that you want to experience more of in your life, then be sure to listen to what I have to share after this interview with my fabulous guest. Today, I have the absolute pleasure to introduce you to Vanya Insull from VJ Cooks. Now, if you haven't come across her work, I'm sure you will after this episode. Vanya is a Kiwi food blogger and content creator at VJ Cooks, where she shares her delicious recipes. She has a best-selling cookbook called Everyday Favourites, plus another book that's going to be released later in the year. She has a very popular membership called Cooking with VJ, where she creates monthly recipe ebooks to give her members inspiration and confidence in the kitchen. Vanya also happens to be one of the hardest working and most driven women I've met. And you'll soon discover that she's also incredibly modest and down to earth. During the episode, we chat about her younger years growing up on the land in New Zealand, her early career, and her journey that began from a small Facebook page back in 2016 to her now being a very popular leader and shining light in the food industry. Vanya's also at the very start of her midlife journey, so we touch on that as well. Now, without further ado, a very big welcome to my friend Vanya. A great big welcome to Vanya. I'm absolutely delighted to have you on here today, Vanya, and I can't wait for you to talk about and share your story with all of us today.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Jo. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we love to chat, so I'm looking forward to seeing where this conversation is going to go.
We do. Watch out.
So as you heard in the intro, your professional world is based around food and creating recipes for families that are easy to make and tasty to eat. But in the last few years, your work has reached a huge amount of people on social media and on the various platforms. So now you've got a great big membership, which is ever growing. You've got a thriving online community. You've published a cookbook with another one to be released later in the year. Was this how you imagined your life was going to look and be?
No, it wasn't at all. But I caught that entrepreneur bug and now I just can't stop. I think, no, not at all. My husband was a builder and I was a housewife, and I was also a graphic designer for magazines. But we moved to a small town and there was no magazines here. So I had to create my own business pretty much.
So that was a catalyst. So if
Yeah.
we've seen you as, you moved to a small town with your husband, you had other jobs previously, and you created your own. So if we really rewind back, tell us about your childhood, because you said you moved, and what younger Vanya was like. What was life growing up for you like?
So I had a great life growing up. I grew up on a sheep farm in Rotorua in New Zealand, and we actually had a sheep show that hundreds of tourists every day came to. So maybe that's why I'm such a show off and love having an audience, because that's what my dad did. He started it with my granddad, who was a famous sheep shearer. Godfrey Bowen was his name. He was famous in New Zealand. And my granddad started the show, and then my dad was there. And then so we grew up on the sheep farm and we all worked there. So I started working when I was very young, but probably started working every weekend when I was about 11 or 12. And I used to be a stage girl, so I'd take the cow on stage, or the sheep on stage, and the lambs on stage, and it was a cool way to learn how to work for your money, because my dad always like, you've got to work for your money. So we're all there's 4 sisters and my brother. We're all very hard workers because we got taught at a young age. So we needed to work to make money. So I grew up in Rotorua, had a fun kind of cruisy life, and then uni, lived in Auckland for a long time, traveled around the world with my husband, and then I had my first son when I was just before I turned 31. So yeah, and then we moved to Taupo, which is in the middle of the North Island, when my second son Henry was 6 months old. So I would have been about 33 then.
Okay. Well, that's an amazing start. I love the connection with you being the showgirl, bringing on the sheep and the cattle on stage. That is just gorgeous. I can imagine you in that. And you've had shared that story with me before, that you also had a special outfit to wear for when you're doing that.
I had my John Bull boots and my little denim shorts, and I also used to do the farm tours. So I'd drive a tractor with like 40 tourists in the back and talk about, and have a little microphone and talk about the farm, driving around the farm, which was fun. So it was a cool upbringing.
Love that.
I always had holiday jobs in the summer from uni, go home and drive some tractors for a few months.
Yeah. And so did you have many sheep on the property?
It was like a hobby. Well, it was only 300 acres. It was probably pretty small for you. So it was probably a few thousand, I think. But it was mainly, the tourist attraction was the cash cow, and we had kiwi fruit orchard as well. So it was mainly about the tourist attraction.
Yes. Well, it's all relative, isn't it? When you're talking about land in New Zealand and land in Australia, you probably had almost as many sheep on your few hundred acres that we had on our tens of thousands of acres. So it's all really is relative. Yeah. So what did you want to do when you left high school then, Vanya? You said you went off to uni. What were you hoping to do?
I did a Bachelor of Fine Arts, BFA, which people call something else, a Bachelor of Equal. But I wanted to be a graphic designer. I wanted to make ads for like advertising campaigns, but I came out of uni and my first job was junior designer at Taste magazine. My first job was designer at Yellow Pages. Did you guys have the Yellow Pages?
Yes, so your fingers do the walking on the Yellow Pages.
Yeah. So I used to design those ads, which actually got me really fast at design, because you'd have to do like 30 ads a day in the design department at the Yellow Pages. Yep. So to be designing it for painters and car places and stuff like that. And then I went into Taste magazine, which was, I was junior designer. So before that I couldn't cook. I had no idea. I was a very plain picky eater. I hated mayo, I hated mushrooms, I hated onions. Like I was very picky. And then I just, being in the magazine foodie world, like seeing people cook all the time just really inspired me.
Yeah, right. And so did you learn from them, or you just decided to try a few different recipes here and there?
It was a bit of both. It was mainly because you're designing the recipes, kind of read them as you're designing it. So I kind of got to know what went with what, and then going on the photo shoots and seeing these amazing cooks cook things. I just started trialing a few ones at home, and then I was so proud of myself. It's such a cool feeling when you grab a recipe and something you've never made at home and you nail it. So that's why I'm doing it now, to inspire other people to do that. That was a long time ago. So, and then I had like a dinner club with my friends, and we'd all make dinner. We'd make, like, if you hosted, you made the dinner, and if you're visiting, you either made the entree or dessert, or you brought wine. So locked houses. And it was a recipe club, so that kind of got me into it, like trying new recipes. We'd do it like on a theme, like we do Thai or Mexican and stuff like that. So
I love that idea. So basically the jobs that you've had in the past is like the breadcrumbs that have led you to where you are now, kind of, if you can reflect back. But at the time you had no idea.
No. Well, social media didn't exist then. And I ended up doing some freelance design work in London as well. But yeah, it just kind of got me that foodie kind of bug, which was exciting. And I think the graphic design skills do help with what I do. Like I could like lay out my website and design Pinterest pins and stuff like that. Having that eye for like styling recipes definitely helped, I think, to get me here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting to think about the degree that you did, the amount of work and hours that you've done, and the jobs that you've done, and you can do it all on Canva, like a complete.
I know, Canva's amazing, because I used to design. I've got Canva now so that my team can design ebooks as well, because I used to design the ebooks myself. I pretty much made my own mini magazine, whereas I do all the jobs instead of just the design job. But yeah, having Canva's so good. I love it.
Oh, it'd be a game changer for somebody who, doing what you're doing as well.
Yeah. Well, I can do it the old school way as well, but it is helpful so that my team, because I know those skills and how to do them really fast to design something, but having it in Canva means someone who's not a designer can change things or use a template to create an ebook for me, which I felt hard to outsource that because I'm so, you're trying to control everything, but you can't do it all. So, yeah.
Yeah. It must make those people who are studying to become graphic designers really annoyed when.
Yes.
So then when did you meet your husband, Mikey? When did that all happen?
When I was about 22, I think. We had mutual friends, and we just kind of met. And then he just never left my house for the last 20 years or however, 18 years, however long it's been, pretty much. Yeah, he just didn't leave.
He stayed and never left.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, we've been pretty tight ever since we met each other, which is cute.
Oh, that's lovely. And you went traveling, like you've done some traveling together in your younger days.
Yeah, we did 2 years in the UK, which was awesome.
Brilliant.
Working over there, we had to come back because of the global financial crisis in 2008 or something. Yeah, and then because Mike was a banker then. He's a builder now.
Is that right? Wow, that's a big change of career.
He worked in Canary Wharf and all the jobs finished. We came home to get married and we were supposed to go back, but there was no jobs for bankers since we just decided to stay in New Zealand.
Brilliant. Well, that's a huge difference, isn't it?
Yeah. And he said, I want to do an apprenticeship. And I was like, well, it's a lot less than your banking wage, but whatever makes you happy.
Being the good supportive wife that you are.
Yeah, no, he's a great builder. So that's good.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. And did he build your home that you're in now?
No, we just bought this one on our scholarship. Yeah. One day we'll eventually live in a house that Mike will build.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you've gone from traveling the world, coming back. How did having children change your life then? Was that something that was a huge, big turnaround?
Yeah. Well, I think we always wanted to be parents. It took a little while to have Archie, a few years. So we really appreciated him when he was here. And we just decided, because Auckland's quite a busy city, that we wanted a more simple life for the kids. I grew up in Rotorua, which is a smaller town, and we were looking at houses, and then we decided that Taupo would be, it's on a beautiful lake. We'll see, we've tried it out. It might be a stepping stone to a bigger city, see what we like. Now we're here, we like this smaller town kind of life. I think there's about 30,000 people that live here, but it's a holiday resort town. So in the summer it swells to like up to 100,000 people because everyone comes here for the lake. Yeah. So it's small and we can park wherever we want outside the shops we want during the weeks, and then everyone comes on the weekend and in the summertime. We're like, get out of our town.
Yeah. I live in a tourist area as well, so I know exactly what you just avoid going anywhere really during those school breaks and weekends.
Yeah.
Okay. So and pace of life slowed. What else changed for yourself when you had children? Did you work?
I think it's definitely quite weird going from not like having your own identity, because I was an art director by then in magazines. I was in a beautiful glossy office with glass and all these amazingly dressed up beauty editors and fashion editors, and we were designing beautiful magazines. Like I used to design Cleo magazine, the teenage girls magazine. I was art director of that for a while, and Good Health magazine, which is a women's magazine, which is in Australia. So we'd put the New Zealand version of things, like there'd be the Australian Good Health, and we'd add New Zealand extracts and a different person on the cover and stuff each month. So that was fun. So going from being an art director to being at home with a baby was quite full on. Yeah. So I went back freelance because we still lived in Auckland there after about 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah, just a few days a week, just to have my sanity time, which I liked. Yes. And then I think with Henry, who was the 2.5 years later, I wasn't as much in a hurry to get my business identity back. I was happy to just, be a mum. Yeah.
So did you have support when you had the children at that young age?
Yeah, moving to Taupo, a couple of my sisters lived here. One moved away. We've all moved around, but now all 4 sisters live in the same town. My youngest sister Grace moved here, which is amazing because growing up I never had any aunties or uncles or cousins live in the same town. So it's pretty special because 2 of my sisters, one of them's got 1 boy and one's got 2 boys. So there's all these boys that can be really close cousins, which is exciting. But it's quite weird moving to a smaller town, like making friends with people in coffee groups and having that same conversation. But it was mainly, I met quite a really nice group of friends through our kids through kindy, and there was a group on Facebook, like New to Total Mums. We got to know each other, and then I created a nice little clique with them, and I'm still besties with all those mums. So we're all great friends, which is awesome. So I do have support, which is good.
Oh, that's good. Having children, they're a great icebreaker, because I know being in small rural towns and moving, the last move that we did, the children had long gone, and so it was forming friendships just without children, and that is entirely different.
Yeah, totally.
Entirely different. Yeah. Okay. Now, Vanya, your book, sorry, not your book, your business. I've got my book on your brain because we'll talk about that. Your business doesn't always look like it does today. And you gave us a little bit of a snippet on how, the seeds of how it started. So can you just go back in a little bit more detail, share the origin story of it?
Yeah. So we moved to Taupo, and I obviously loved cooking from working in the cooking magazines, but I wouldn't call myself a chef or anything like that. I've never done any formal training. I just like cooking easy family meals. So I got this new app. I can't remember what it was called, but I was so excited, and I started editing little videos of me cooking, and then I didn't want to upload them to my personal page, so I made a page on Facebook called VJ Cooks, because VJ is my nickname, Vanya Jean, so my whole family calls me VJ. So I called it VJ Cooks, and I put a video of me doing, like, making a spinach thing with the phyllo chicken thing with the kids, and then it got like a few hundred views, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I put another one on, a few hundred views, and then I put this mango pavlova on just before Christmas 2016, so a long time ago, and it got 50,000 views in 3 days, and I thought, hey, I can make something of this. So after that, I make a recipe each week, and this was the only thing I was working on, just one recipe each week, so I'd do it in nap time or whatever, and then upload it to my Facebook.
And this is all on Facebook?
Yeah, all on Facebook. I only had Instagram for like my personal, like private stuff, like 200 friends following. And then I did like a wheat bix slice, which is like a chocolate wheat bix slice, which was my auntie's recipe, because it was written in my cookbook, which my mum gave to me for my 21st, which is really sweet. And that had like 1 million views in a couple of weeks, and I was like, wow. Yeah. So I just kept posting recipes, and I wasn't making any money for like the first year or two, and then I made friends with other foodies, and then one of them said, you need to have a website. And I was like, why? I'm just sharing on Facebook. And she's like, well, I made $400 from my website last month. And I was like, what are you talking about? So that's when I made vjcooks.com. And I used to just put the recipes in the Facebook post, which I think helped my success on Facebook, because people stayed on Facebook instead of going away to my website, which Facebook liked, because it wants you to stay on there as long as possible. So then I built the website, and now that's one of my main revenue streams, is ad revenue on my website, because it's got over 400 recipes on there now.
Wow.
It's about 20,000 hits a day.
20,000?
Yeah.
Holy. And are they mainly New Zealand, Australia, or is it global?
New Zealand, Australia, but all around the world. So it had 7 million views last year, or hits or something. I don't know. I love
the way that these sort of numbers are just flying off the top.
Yeah, it's crazy. I
get excited now with 10,000 views or something.
Ad money, like when you see those ads when you're looking at a recipe and it's quite long.
Yes.
That I make like 1 cent, but if you times that by 20,000, it's like $200 US.
Gotcha.
That's like a big day, which is great. And then you times that by 30 days, it's quite a lot of money.
That does end up being, and it's passive, isn't it? Really, once you've got it all set up, it's just letting it do its own thing. Amazing.
Yeah, well, we put a lot of work into the website, because the better it gets, the more Google knows you as an authority. So they'll make you rank higher. When someone Googles mince and pasta, my mince and pasta comes up first. So that's one of my top ranking recipes.
Is that right? Now I'm intrigued, and probably everybody else will be too. They'll be typing in mince and pasta and seeing. So from that, you've got a membership.
Yeah. So I started investing in mentoring probably when the business was about 1.5 years old. I think I started in Tracy Harris's Social Methods Society when she launched that, because I didn't know what an email list was, didn't know anything about that. And I'd had my Facebook following was quite big by then, probably like 70,000 Facebook followers. And I'd kind of introduced Instagram as a behind the scenes of the Facebook page, but that started growing as well. So I invested in mentoring, which at the time, like $50 a month seemed like so much money to invest in yourself. But I think just having that time to study and learn each month, learn what an email marketing was, learn what a freebie or an opt-in was. I had no idea what these things were. So it's quite confusing. You don't know where to start. So I think if you can afford it, invest in some kind of way to upskill.
Yes.
And then a few years after doing that, I built an email list. Tracy's like, you have to start a membership. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I can't charge people for recipes. She's like, yes, you can. You're giving all this content away for free. So I created Cooking with VJ. So that's where everyone gets a monthly ebook with new recipes, and we cook them along together, and we've got an awesome community. And those recipes are exclusive. And then about 3 to 6 months later, I put them on the website. So I fill gaps on my website with my ebooks. So yeah, so I've got almost 1,200 members in the membership now.
Wow, congratulations. That is huge. That is huge from somebody just taking the odd photo all those years ago. Incredible. And not only that, you've become, like, I joke that you're like the next Donna Hay, which I believe you are.
Oh,
You've got one cookbook, and now just a minute ago your husband slipped through the manuscript of your second.
Yes, yeah. But so this one comes out later in the year, which I'm excited about. So the first one was called Everyday Favorites, and it was mainly dinners and baking. So because people love following me for the everyday easy family meals, because it's ingredients that they have in their pantries. It's not too scary.
No, it's not. And I cook quite a lot of them, so I can vouch for how easy they are and tasty. Yeah.
So that was just dinners and baking, and then the next one's got a summer kind of feel to it. So it's got my big platter salads. I love doing big salads on platters. So there's a salad section. We've got some barbecue stuff, some entertaining stuff. We've still got the everyday dinners because I know people love that. And then we've got baking and desserts this time, and we've got some Christmas desserts too. So I think this is better than the first one.
Okay, and that's ready for release when?
I think it's like September, October. They haven't told me the exact date yet, but should be.
Well, looking forward to getting that one too.
Yes. Sign it for you, Joe. Send it all the way.
So your businesses and your life has changed incredibly over the last, how many years would you say? It's just in a
so 6.5 years, 6 years. Well, I started VJ Cooks when Henry was like 6 months old, and he's about to turn 7. Yeah. So it was a hobby for a while. I got a hobby and a side hustle for a while, and now it's my full-on business, and I've got a team that helps me of other mums that work part-time, but they kind of add up to like a full-time person. So I can't do it all anymore.
Oh God, no. And it's like you've got Rocket Booster on your business, and so your life would have had to have changed to accommodate that as well.
Yeah.
What do you do to help yourself through all of those busy times? Like, what sort of things do you do to support yourself so you can maintain time for your family, time for yourself, and get a clear head as well?
Well, that's something that I'm not that good at, is work-life boundaries, as you may know, Joe. It always comes up we're in a mastermind together, and my question is always like, how do I slow down?
Yeah.
But my husband Mike is a builder, and he's just pulled back from the building to help out with the kids. So there's always someone with them at the moment. So he's been helping me with all the pickups and drop-offs, so I don't have to finish at 2:30 every day. I can keep working and he can do the pickups. So that's really helped with the I'm not working as late at night, because I love working at night. I have to make myself go to bed.
Okay.
I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
But I try and structure my week to make sure I do my exercise first, like drop off the kids at school, and then 3 days a week I go to the gym and do some strength training with I've got a PT which I do once a week, and then the other times I do the strength training by myself, or I try and go for a walk or something like that. So I structure my days. If I do the exercise first, I feel like I've done something for myself before I get into the business stuff. Otherwise, if I leave it, it doesn't happen. And just trying to switch off. I've been trying to have Fridays off, but that's happened like twice in the last 6 months.
But the intention is there.
I'm probably not the right person to talk about work-life balance. I just love working so much. So we're doing a big trip around Europe for 8 weeks in June and July. So I've been working hard so I can have some time off then.
Oh, lovely. And do you think you'll be able to switch off?
I think I'll try, at least from like we're getting the ebooks. We're going to get all 3 of them done ahead of time, stuff like that. So the day-to-day stuff will all be done. I'll just be dipping it out and then sharing the content, because I want to do some cooking schools in Italy and France, so I can learn some more, because I think that's really cool content on Instagram.
Yes, that would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. And what incredible connections you'll also make as well, and contacts when you do that. Okay, so you're prioritizing movement. That's one thing. Your sleep may not be the greatest. But I love that little hint that you gave on doing something, putting your movement first, making sure that's a priority for your day, so the rest of the day you can do whatever. So that's really important. Now, you turned 40 not long ago, big milestone birthday. For me, I don't know what it was like for you, but for me, the thought of turning 40, for some reason, it just, it sort of put me a bit off balance. Once I reached it, fine. It didn't bother me. But that lead up to thinking, hell, I'm going to be turning 40. Did you have that feeling, or were you, I don't care?
I had that a little bit, but last year was one of my biggest years ever, releasing a cookbook and stuff like that. So it was an exciting time. I was quite proud that I've created a digital business by the time I turned 40. Like, I could never have dreamed to have a big business like this. It's cool to think that this is just the start. And like, even though I'm, as you said, like this is the middle of my life, which you said at the start of the podcast, I was like, that's scary to think that. But my business is just in its infancy. So it's quite crazy to think how big it could become in those years in between now and when I'm 40 and 60. Like, there's going to be a lot of growing to do, which is exciting.
Well, you think of yourself as a person, without business aside, how you've changed from being a 20-year-old to a 40-year-old woman. And now you imagine being a 40-year-old woman, comparing that 2060. It's quite amazing, isn't it?
And you just don't care as much what other people think, which I love.
I know. And that gets even more and more, which is, it's liberating, and it really is quite freeing, that part of it. So for many women, and I can safely say the majority of women, they have no idea about the hormonal transitions that are coming up. And some of your friends may be going through that now. You may be going through that. Do you and your friends talk about that or are aware of it? Because I have
about it a little bit.
Okay.
Like the grey hairs coming in and stuff like that. The mention of perimenopause is coming up, and I'm just, I'm not ready for that yet. I've read a bit about, like, you need to make sure you actually fully fuel yourself so you feel better when you're going through these kind of symptoms, eating nutritious food, and not, like, if you're dieting, a lot of these symptoms are going to be a lot worse because you're starving yourself. People go through those kind of cycles with food. 1 minute eating lots, the next just trying to be on a diet, which I try not to talk about diets and stuff too much, especially on Instagram and stuff, because I just want people can pick and choose what they want to eat. Some things are full of sugar, but I'm not telling you to eat the whole thing. Just have a couple of slices, you'll be fine. But the menopause thing, it's been brought up a bit, but no one's really going full on through it yet. But it's going to be some interesting years to see come up. But I think doing the strength training, I'm enjoying feeling strong. I'm enjoying, quite often I have to pick, the boys will fall asleep in our bed because they love our bed, and I have to lift them up and carry them downstairs and put them in their bunks. And it's so nice just to be able to pick them up really easy, feeling strong. I love that, to be able to keep up.
Brilliant. Because it's one thing, Vanya, but there's 20% of women have got signs of perimenopause at the age of 40. So that's a lot. Out of your group, say just statistically, 10 out of your group of 10 of your friends, 2 of you will be going through it already. And most of you don't know. So my advice is learn about this whole stage of life, because it can last between up to 10 plus years for some women.
Wow.
And it can be a huge transition time. It can be really smooth sailing, but you need to know, regardless whether it's smooth or a bit rough, you need to know what's happening to your body so you can support it best. But you're on the right track with the strength training. So important. A plus there, Vanya.
Thank you. I get the tick, the teacher's tick.
Teacher's tick for you.
Principal's tick.
So what are you looking forward to most in the second half of your life?
I think, since I've just, me, I love to hustle. I am hustling now so I can slow down later. Like my parents, my in-laws, Mike's parents, they spend 6 months of the year in New Zealand and then 6 months in Noosa most years. So I'd love to do something like that later on, follow the sun. You don't need to be in the cold the whole time if you can afford it. But just watching my boys grow and be teenagers and support them through that, and then just slowing down a bit because I am going too fast, and I know that. I keep telling myself to slow down and enjoy things, but I know that I'm hustling now, so later on I can slow down a bit.
Yeah, but just spend. I'll be Mother Joe now. Just spend the odd time sitting back and smelling the roses and appreciating what you've done. But I'm sure you'll get more of that when you do your travel away as well. But you're busy right at this moment. Yeah,
I love being on holiday. Love travel, so that's what I definitely want the business to involve lots of travel, lots of foodie travel as well, which would be exciting.
Yeah. So have you got role models that you look at, Vanya, to go, oh God, I'd love that? Like you talked about your Mikey's parents doing what they're doing. So, that's a role model for you.
Yeah, my mum's a pretty good role model. She lives a great life. She grows lots of vegetables, loves gardening and stuff like that. I used to love gardening, but now I don't have time to do it. And she's just fit and healthy, and she's a babe as well. So if I look like that when I'm 66, then how old is she? 67, then I'll be happy. So she's a good role model. And I've got lots of strong women, lots of amazing aunties who are really strong women as well, who I look up to. And in the foodie world, like you said, like Donna Hay is Annabelle Langbein in New Zealand, and just sharing food with people, really I love to do. And when people give me feedback, like when they cook something I've made, it's so exciting. So I don't know, I'm inspired by lots of different things.
Oh, that's brilliant. So Vanya, how can people connect with you?
Well, if you just type in VJ Cooks, you can find me anywhere. So I'm on Instagram.
You're so famous. People can find you just VJ Cooks.
I'm on TikTok now as well. I've got Pinterest pages with all the recipes as well. And my website's vjcooks.com, which you can search by ingredient. If you're trying to find something for chicken, you type in chicken, it will give you lots of different options to cook it.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing website as well.
I'm
loving just seeing everything take off for you. It is quite, from the sidelines, it is just an absolute joy watching you blossom and watching your business blossom as well. So congratulations on all you've achieved so far, all you're going to be achieving, and enjoy that time in Europe with the boys.
I will. You'll follow along.
Oh, I can't wait, because I'll be over there. You'll just come back and I'll be heading over.
Oh yeah, I can give you some recommendations.
That would be fabulous. So Vanya, just as a final question for you, if you could look into the future, what do you hope 80-year-old Vanya is going to say about current day Vanya?
I think she'll be proud of herself. I hope she's healthy. That's the main thing I want, me and my family to be healthy. So I guess lived a happy, healthy life, seen lots of things, and that my sons are happy and kind boys, really. That's what I want. Beautiful.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to no, I won't say. I'm not sure if I'm going to be around to see that, but I am.
Yeah.
I'll make it a commitment that I will be.
Yeah, you'll be there.
I'll be there. I'll be making those recipes still. All right. I look forward to seeing that next cookbook coming out too, Dal.
Yes, I'm excited about it. Thanks so much for having me, Jo.
Oh, pleasure. Really thanks so much for coming on. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode. It's all too easy to get caught up in a negative mindset and downward spiral if all you see and hear are the negatives and doom and gloom about aging. And there's no doubt that this stage of life can be challenging. Yet if all you focus on are the negatives, that's exactly what your experience will be. You don't have to settle for a life that doesn't light you up. You can actually create a life that you're in love with. And it's never too late. So much can change in a year. And I know this because I've been there and experienced it myself. So if you are ready to take that next step, I would love to invite you to Reimagine, my 4-week group mentoring program. We start on the 20th of April, and I'm welcoming women into the program now. The energy and the conversations and support are going to be next level. So if you're wanting to step into that next half of life, feeling inspired and excited, then this program is exactly for you. You're going to be able to get weekly mentoring to get the clarity to see what's possible. You'll be around other high vibe women, and you'll get the support, resources, and steps to design your new future. And you soon find that when you surround yourself with other high vibe women who are ready and excited for the future, then your energy and the way you view your future will change. To join Reimagine, head to joclarkcoaching.com, email me at jo@joclarkcoaching.com, or send me a DM on socials to get all the information. And I can't wait for you to join and see what's possible ahead.